A name can echo through history like a drumbeat of war. Khalid ibn al-Walid is such a name. He never lost a single battle, not one. He fought in over 100 engagements, from small skirmishes to epic clashes that decided the fate of empires. This fact alone places him in the highest echelon of military leaders the world has ever known. His contemporaries knew his worth. They gave him a title that captured his essence perfectly: Saifullah al-Maslool, the drawn sword of God. He was a force of nature on the battlefield, a whirlwind of strategy and steel that reshaped the known world in less than a decade. His story is not just one of conquest, but of a profound and rapid transformation of power that still reverberates today. His life is a chronicle of startling contrasts and undeniable genius. Well, that is the scale of his legacy. Khalid was born into the crucible of pre-Islamic Arabia, tribal loyalty, endless feuds. The warrior ethos he hailed from the Banu Makhzum clan in Mecca. The Makhzum, powerful, wealthy, martial. From his earliest days, Khalid was steeped in this culture, aristocrat of the desert, trained from boyhood in horsemanship, swordsmanship, tribal leadership. His father al-Walid ensured the best martial education, a relentless training ground. He learned to read the shifting sands like a scholar reads a book. He understood the rhythm of the seasons, the location of hidden wells, the fastest routes across the desert. That knowledge became a strategic asset. He became a formidable wrestler and a peerless cavalryman, product of a harsh world that rewarded strength, cunning, and seizing opportunity. These skills defined his future command. Initially, his talent was used against the Prophet and his followers. Islam challenged the clan power structure. The death of the Prophet Muhammad in 632 AD plunged the fledgling Islamic State into its gravest crisis. The fragile political unity he had forged across the Arabian Peninsula began to fracture almost immediately. Many tribes, who had pledged personal allegiance to the Prophet, considered their pact void upon his death. Some renounced Islam entirely. Others followed new, self-proclaimed prophets who rose to challenge the authority of Medina. This period of widespread rebellion and apostasy became known as the Ridda Wars, or the Wars of Apostasy. The future of Islam itself hung precariously in the balance. The first caliph, Abu Bakr, took a firm and uncompromising stand. He declared that the unity of the community was paramount and dispatched several armies to bring the rebellious tribes back into the fold. He entrusted Khalid with the command of the most critical force. Khalid's first major campaign was against the false prophet Tulayha. Instead of a slow, methodical advance, Khalid moved his army with astonishing speed, engaging and shattering Tulayha's forces before they could fully consolidate their power. His most famous and controversial campaign during the Ridda Wars was against another false prophet, Musaylima, known as the Liar. Musaylima had amassed a massive army from the powerful Banu Hanifa tribe, posing the single greatest threat to Medina. The ensuing Battle of Yarmouk in 632 AD was a brutal and bloody affair. The fighting was so intense that the Muslims were initially pushed back, and many of their most senior companions were killed. Seeing his army on the verge of collapse, Khalid reorganized his men, rallied them with a personal display of incredible bravery, and led a desperate charge that broke the enemy's spirit. With Arabia secured, the unified Muslim armies turned outward. To the northeast, the Sasanian Persian Empire. To the northwest, the Byzantine Roman Empire. These superpowers had exhausted each other, yet they remained Goliaths compared to the desert David. In 633 AD, Caliph Abu Bakr dispatched Khalid to the Iraqi frontier, the rich, fertile lands of the Sasanian Empire. It was a bold, audacious gamble. Khalid's campaign in Iraq, a textbook of military genius. He opened with lightning-fast battles, known as the Campaign of the Chains, Battle of Walaja, Battle of Uhud. He used the desert as his ally, appearing from unexpected directions, striking hard, then melting back into arid wastes the Persian infantry couldn't follow. He marched across a waterless desert to reinforce another army, a feat of logistics and endurance. Within a year, most of Iraq conquered. An urgent call from the west. The Levante's front was faltering against Byzantium. Khalid ordered to Syria. He refused the long route and led a small force on a 6-day trek across the Syrian desert, uncharted and supposedly impassable. What made Khalid ibn al-Walid an undefeated commander? His success was not luck or brute force. It was a sophisticated military system built on key principles. The first and most important was speed. Khalid understood that mobility was life. Light cavalry, hardy infantry. They could cover vast distances at a pace that confounded opponents. Persian and Byzantine commanders planned for slow, predictable marches. Khalid's forces would appear from nowhere, strike a decisive blow, then vanish before a response. That relentless tempo kept enemies off balance. The second pillar, masterful use of cavalry. Many armies still relied on heavy infantry formations. Khalid made horsemen his primary offensive weapon, not just to protect flanks, not just to chase a broken enemy. He kept a mobile reserve of elite cavalry, held back until the critical moment. At Yarmouk, that reserve, led by Khalid, acted like a fire brigade, plugging gaps in his lines, then delivering the battle-winning charge at the enemy's weak point. Third, deception and psychological warfare. He could win a battle in the enemy commander's mind before a sword was raised. He often divided his forces, brought them in waves to suggest endless reinforcements, set ambushes like at Walaja, and cultivated a reputation that made garrisons surrender. Finally, he was remarkably flexible, improvising, shifting plans instantly, organizing nimble regiments to answer threats in real time. Speed, cavalry shock tactics, psychological operations, tactical flexibility. Together, they created a doctrine nearly impossible for conventional enemies to counter. To lead men into the jaws of death, a commander must possess more than just tactical brilliance. He must embody the very virtues he demands of his soldiers. Khalid ibn al-Walid was, by all accounts, a man of immense personal bravery. He did not direct his battles from a safe position in the rear. He was known to fight in the front ranks, leading charges dueling enemy champions in single combat. This willingness to share the same dangers as his men inspired a fierce and unwavering loyalty. They saw their general risking his life alongside them, and it gave them the courage to stand against overwhelming odds. His physical presence on the battlefield was a powerful force multiplier. Discipline was the bedrock of his army. Khalid enforced a strict code of conduct, understanding that an unruly mob could not defeat a professional army. He demanded absolute obedience to orders, and he was known for his stern, sometimes harsh demeanor with his subordinates. Plunder was strictly forbidden until after a battle was decisively won, ensuring that his soldiers remained focused on the objective rather than on personal gain. However, his character was not without its complexities and controversies. His swift and sometimes brutal actions during the Ridda Wars, particularly the events surrounding the death of the tribal leader Malik ibn Nuwayra, drew criticism even in his own time. Some historians have portrayed him as overly severe and quick to resort to the sword when a more diplomatic solution might have been possible. He was also a man of immense pride, confident in his own abilities, which sometimes brought him into conflict with other leaders. He was a warrior first and foremost. At the height of his power, with the Byzantine Empire reeling, Khalid's military career abruptly ended. In 638 AD, Umar ibn al-Khattab dismissed him, fearing a cult of personality and insisting authority flow from Medina. Khalid accepted without protest, served as an ordinary soldier, and helped prevent civil strife. He died in 642 AD, lamenting not dying a martyr. I have sought martyrdom in 100 battles, and now I die in my bed like an old camel. May the eyes of cowards never find rest. A warrior to his core, militarily, one of history's great captains. His campaigns are studied for mobility, surprise, and psychological warfare. He shattered 2 empires and changed the Middle East map. His final act, obedience, ensured the empire outlived him. The sword of God was sheathed, but the world he carved was forever changed.